Hey everyone, welcome back to the Model Haven. Today we're doing update number 1 on the vintage Revell Goodyear Blimp. So let's take a look. Alright, so I had mentioned in the last video that I wanted to come up with sort of an alternate stand for the Blimp model. So you can see I've got this mocked up here. I haven't actually painted anything yet. You know, as I'd mentioned in some of my other videos, I've run into a lot of issues painting in my garage, but I have made a lot of incremental progress. So there is a light at the end of that tunnel, so we should be able to get our painting situation under control. This 2019 will be the year of getting our painting production line going, and I'm pretty close on that. But for the moment, I haven't painted anything. I've just kind of been mocking things up. And you can see here that this is the original stand that it comes with. And as I had mentioned, this thing runs on 2 D-cell batteries, and you have to open up the blimp to change the batteries. And you know, in the long term, I didn't want to keep having to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with an alternate power source that we'll put in this wooden base. And then we'll run a wire up into the blimp so that we'll have power and we won't ever have to open up the blimp except for when we want to change the banners, which won't be very often. So the blimp will still have to be openable. It can't be glued together because we need to get in there if we ever want to change the little message that the lighted display shows, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. So the base, this is just a wood box I got at Michael's. It's just a plain wood box. It has an opening. I actually have the opening on the bottom right now, and this would normally be the bottom of the box, but I think it's a better surface for sort of finishing. And then when we need to get at the bottom to the power source or the switch, which I'm also going to mount on the front here, then we can open the box from the bottom. And I think that'll work pretty well. I'm not 100% sold that this is going to be the base, but I'm going to start out with this. And so I think with the base, what we'll do is we'll paint it like a Goodyear blue, and then we'll have, you know, the Goodyear name in yellow probably, and then I'll just get a little rocker switch or something to go in the front here to make this thing work. But I think that should work out pretty well. So I also had mocked up the inside of this thing. So what we see here in the foreground is sort of the rotating barrel that would rotate the display inside of the blimp. And you can see here it's got the 3 incandescent lights. And I had considered replacing those with LEDs, but I think I'm going to just leave them initially. And then over here we have our electric motor that actually drives the barrel so that it'll rotate. And so I basically just mocked this all together to make sure that this stuff all still worked after sitting in the box for 40 years. And the reason I have this kind of the gear mechanism and the motor separate from the barrel at the moment is just because I'm using my power supply over here to test things out. And if you run the power lead inside of this barrel and it starts to rotate, then the wire will get caught. And there's not enough room to run the wire through either end. So that's just a temporary thing. All we really need to make sure is that the motor and the lights are working at this point. So let me demo that for you. So we'll hook this guy up. If I can get a grip on him. And you can see the light bulbs still work and the motor works. Yeah, it's very loud, and that's just because that's just some squeaking that's going on with this gear mechanism. So I think if we oil this thing up, it'll be a lot quieter. But that's something we'll work on to get it to, you know, obviously it can't stay that loud. That's really distracting. But I was happy just that the motor and the lights still work. Everything seems to be functional, which is good. So I did want to show you guys some of the things that came with the kit and the things that held up and the things that didn't hold up as well. So one that's not part of the model, but it did come with this kind of cool Aerial Ambassadors brochure, this black and white brochure. Just kind of talks about the history of the blimp and a lot of kind of cool information in here, so that's kind of cool to have. So of course with the decals, these actually held up pretty well just in terms of not yellowing and not totally degrading. You may not be able to tell on the camera though, but they have degraded a bit. There's little bits of color just starting to flake off in some places. So we're not going to use these original ones, but I've already scanned these into my computer, and so I'm going to use Photoshop to touch up a few of these places where the colors kind of come off, and then we're going to print it on some I actually don't have it right in front of me, but I got some of the Testers decal paper. That was a recommendation from Brian at BG Model Works, and so hopefully that'll work a little better than the one I used on the last model. And then one thing that didn't really hold up so well, it's going to be a little hard for you guys to see this because I have it in this baggie, but this is sort of the kind of dot matrix screen that would sit in front of the display in between the barrel and the outside of the blimp, and this actually didn't hold up so well. I mean, it probably looks okay from here, but in addition to fading, the black matrix is just starting to come off. If you just even gently touch it, that stuff just comes off right on your hand. So what we're going to have to do, it's pretty easy to recreate this grid, and I'm just going to have to print it on some type of transparency myself. So I'm doing a little research on that, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, we definitely can't use this because this matrix is going to wear away very quickly, and if our our signs are running in the background, this black stuff will get all over them and kind of ruin the signs too. So that unfortunately won't be able to reuse, but at least I know exactly what I have to recreate with this thing. And so then it comes with these papers, and these are basically what you would use your markers for. So you black out the ones where you don't want any light to appear, and then you use colors on the other ones, and you can create displays. And it comes with this sort of default display, which gives you an idea of what you guys could do. If you want to spend a lot of time filling out all these little dots, you can create a sign. This one's actually kind of pretty cool. It's got the winners, Go Goodyear, and some race cars on it. And you can see, in addition to the blank sheets, it's got some happy birthday. It's got a sunshine. It's got a season's greetings. It's got a few sort of default signs. This one's kind of cool. So I had mentioned that this model is dated 1975, so 1 year before the bicentennial. And for those of you that were alive and remember it, it was a pretty big thing. I was only 7 years old, but I remember people painting fire hydrants like Uncle Sam and painting their garage doors like American flags and all kinds of stuff. My grade school did some recreations, so everything was bicentennial themed. I had bicentennial T-shirts. You just saw it everywhere. But anyway, it's kind of cool. Hopefully we'll get this thing built before July 4th this year, but if not, maybe we could use this as the first sign. Although I'll probably just want to do something custom with a model haven theme. And it did come with this, obviously back in the day you could reorder these blank sheets, so it's kind of cool this is still in here. You can see actually some of the black stuff that came off. That dot matrix grid was laying on top of this, and you can see where it sort of came off onto the paper. But yeah, that's it for now, guys. So we should be making some quicker progress on this soon. Some of you are aware that I also have an ambient guitar YouTube channel, and early this year the Chords Over Orion site had issued a 6-week EP challenge so that everybody could create an EP in 6 weeks. So I participated in that. If you're interested in ambient guitar music, I'll link down to the playlist for the one that I created below. But it pretty much had taken up all of my free time the last month or so. But that contest is winding down, and I'll be spending more time on the models. So we should have another video coming at you guys soon. So until then, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.